Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Untapped Podcast. My name is Jacob Gabel.
And my name is Jacob Wurtz, guys. Welcome to episode 161 of the Untapped Podcast. If this is your first time joining us, first of all, thank you. We are thrilled to have you here with us. We actually have 5 main formats of our show. So first, we have Forging Fortitude episodes. Now, in these episodes, we cover the mental side of our brand. In these ones, we go over our anecdotal experiences with things like mindset and mentality. We then pass on tips and advice to you guys to then apply to your own lives. Next, we have Physical Vitality episodes, which is what we have today for you guys. Now, in these ones, we cover the physical side of our brand. So we really get to showcase our expertise because you have 2 certified personal trainers here. Now, in these ones, we cover everything to do with Untapped Training, what we offer through our fully custom Untapped Training app. So sick, by the way. So if you guys have any questions, curiosities, whatever, about what we offer, again, through our fully custom app, please reach out to us. We're very reachable guys, and we are more than willing and able to help you reach the goals that you want to. Now, in addition to that, we also cover everything to do with the gym, nutrition, diet, workouts, mental toughness programs like 75 Hard, supplements, and then sometimes we will even take trending articles or topics within the fitness industry and give our thoughts and opinions on those, which is kind of what we have today a little bit. It's kind of a culmination of all of that, actually. More on the gym and workout and current.
And the large debate going on.
Yeah, current topics. Yes. So, guys, these Physical Vitality episodes are full of free game, so we cannot stress this enough. Make sure you pay attention.
Awesome, brother. All right, on to our third format, guys. That is our breaking news format. The breaking news format is a current event-based format. Current events and current articles going on in today's world. Similar to the Physical Vitality, it's just the actual world politics or United States-based politics side of things. Now, keep in mind, a lot of the times when people hear politics or breaking news episodes or current event episodes in general, they think doom and gloom. We are not here to do that. We are here to talk solutions to how we turn the United States around, primarily because that's our deal here, and not only local communities as well, but also the world around as well in a positive manner in those episodes. So that's our current event episodes there, guys. Now, on to our fourth format. That is our Knights Table format. It is a masculinity-based format. We touch on things like toxic masculinity, if it's real, what it really is, fatherhood, the impact it's had on all of our lives in here, and then also male-based topics in general and how important men are to the future of this country and also the world in general. Now, keep in mind, I'm 26, Wurtz is 26, our producer Mitchell is 24. Because of that reason, we are not coming to you as some all put together man. The only perfect man to ever walk this earth is Jesus Christ. Now, on to our fifth format. That is our guest format. We sit down with entrepreneurs, fitness professionals, athletes, doctors, somebody with a great story, or anybody who brings you value of some sort. We learn a lot from these episodes. You will naturally also learn a lot from these episodes. A lot of big ones planned with the Expo, Summer Smash, all that stuff coming up, working stuff around there. Should be pretty exciting, guys.
Yeah.
Now, our last thing to introduce is our producer and my brother, Mitchell Gabel.
What's the word?
Hey, dude.
What is the word?
I don't know.
You ready to talk about getting huge?
Yeah.
No,
You're not excited about the topic?
we don't do that here.
Mitchell doesn't like being huge.
We just like being small here on the Untapped Podcast.
Yep.
We prefer not being jacked.
Small dudes only.
Well, I mean, not really. 1 out of 3.
Him?
That's a fail right there. That's a 66%. Kind of like your college grades.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
Hey, man.
Whoa, man.
That's a crazy stray bullet there. Yeah. I did not.
Oh, my.
Well, I mean, it could apply to both of you.
Fail.
Sound like, okay,
no,
I'm
no,
not
no.
going to 60.
I mean, you go over to OChem and it's like a 2% for him. I mean,
No, I never took OChem. Thank God.
Oh,
Okay.
thank
God.
I did not fail my community college classes. Thank you very much. I have a diploma, sir. Yeah.
What is it, like a piece of paper with some crayon on it? Like, how does that work?
That's what yours is.
No, it actually has some typewriter.
They had him
in
eat
it.
him after. They had him eat some glue after.
Yep.
We have the exact same amount of diplomas.
Wurtz, you're the kind of guy that grabs those Elmer glue sticks and puts it on like lipstick. I mean, that is just unbelievable.
Puts it on
Like lipstick is so insane.
What in the, I don't have a comeback there.
He looks like that old man that got into the paint. You know what I'm talking about? Like that, and it's stuck around his lips. I'll find that and pull it up on the video 100%.
Guys, I'm just here. Like, I'm just sitting here. I'm just getting hammered right now. Like,
Where it's like, I'm getting blindsided.
wait, stop,
It's my friends. It's my friends. I'm taking shots from all sides right now. Oh, that's funny. Good laugh to start the episode.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Apparently. Yeah. Hilarious. Man, I love being here. Yeah.
Poor guy. Oh, man. It's always one of us, though. Because usually I
It's
get
usually
cooked a good
me.
amount, then it's you. And then sometimes it's Mitch, but we just call him short, and that's about all, as far as it goes, usually. You know what I mean?
Because he is significantly smarter than us.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
That's all we got. Just, he's short. But his IQ is like 140 plus. Shoot.
Well,
let's talk IQ here on how to build
IQ.
muscle. Dude, I just transitioned so well there. That was great. But actually, this is going to be a really good episode. I'm excited for
you're a
this one.
transitioner?
Oh, man. Breaking news episode?
Goodness.
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into
Let's
this.
kick it into gear a little bit here.
Yeah.
How to actually get big, how to
Yeah.
actually get large and put on muscle.
Yeah.
Which, again, this, guys, by the way, I will say, we were talking about where this is inspired from with debates and current events and
Mhm.
articles going on in the fitness industry. It is fun for us to like talk about current events and articles in the physical space because it's very interesting because everybody gets so fired up, just like politics, same way.
Sure.
Everybody it's so funny. There's a dichotomy where these fitness influencers, I think they let their thoughts out as like they never, a lot of these fitness influencers never talk politics, for example.
Sure.
I think I would imagine all of them have pretty strong political stances at some point in time.
You would hope anyway.
I would hope so because
Yeah.
you should be educated in that realm, 100%. But I think they let the attacking other creators or attacking other people, or not even just attacking, just going at other people and interacting with other people. I think they do it in the fitness space.
Mm.
So we get all this good content, which the debate right now, to give you guys context on this, is the science-based crowd and how to put on muscle, how science-based is the new way, low volume's the new way.
Right.
Training heavy with compound lifts is not the way. You should do all cable and isolation exercises and all this stuff and machines, and that's the only way you can get big and all this stuff. So that's, to give context, guys, that's where we're coming from with the current events going on in the physical space here
Right.
and how fired up people have gotten about it.
Mhm.
It's actually like, funny enough, a lot of the content is mostly in the fitness industry based toward what can get you the biggest and what can give you the best endurance right now.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody's based around entirely that. It's not even just like, I enjoy kettlebell training. Here's kettlebell training. I enjoy powerlifting. Here's powerlifting. It's not that. It's like a full-blown debate on just how to get big or how to have a lot of endurance.
Right. And I think a lot of that stems from two things. One is a more recent happening, and the other has been around for a couple years now.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that's been around for a couple years is the idea of hybrid training, hybrid athlete, where you're in the gym and you're big, you have a lot of muscle, you can lift heavy weight, you look good, you borderline have like a bodybuilder type physique, you're vascular, you got the six-pack abs and things like that, right? And then you're hybrid because you can also run marathons, or half marathons, or you just run in general, or you bike or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a big hit, especially on social media. A lot of the big creators, especially like the ones that we pay attention to, more so just for like cool content rather than opinion based or workout tips or things like that. But guys like Annie Moore for Kevin Ramirez is who comes to mind.
Yep, higher wellness, Michael Smoke.
Yeah,
He's talking a little bit about that because he's kind of roasted on the hybrid athlete training,
right?
Because it really is like literally being a normal human.
Yeah, basically,
you should be strong and you should have a good cardiovascular endurance.
Yes.
Like that's
yes.
Just to be clear here, guys. Like your VO2 max should be really good, which is just the highest volume of oxygen you can uptake, and you also should be strong,
right,
and fit. Like
right.
let's just make that very clear.
Right.
But anyways,
and I was kind of counting him as a separate category because he doesn't really make like the cool edits, is what I mean, like the cool content. He's more talking points and talking videos,
Yeah.
but. So anyway, you have that hybrid athlete, craze, I guess. Well, really the craze is this next one, which is high rocks, which is in the last couple months here has been a huge craze. It seems like, at least in the spaces that we're in and the communities that we're in, related to like First Form and S2, of course. But I think those two things have really fueled this interest, this argument, this fired upness, just made up a word there, over the be strong, have good endurance.
Mhm.
You know, which again, like you just said, it's kind of just like be a normal human being.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, you might lean more way or the other. Like you and I are going to lean more towards the gym than we do endurance work.
Yeah, and endurance work can be fun.
It can be. It's very challenging too.
It's one of those things where you have to find what you're like good at. Like hill sprints is something I enjoy doing for cardio.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I don't enjoy doing for cardio,
Sure.
truthfully. Like that's just honest truth is that, you know, even something as tedious to me as walking can be sometimes boring to me. but it's also the most natural form of movement humans can do.
Yeah.
Like it's something you should be doing too.
Yeah. Which like, not that I'm opposite per se, because that's more
because I love rucking.
Stronger.
Like,
I was gonna say,
I should
like,
make a difference. I love rucking.
Yeah, like I ruck all the time, you know, and a lot of the times I do the exact same path, and like I'm good with that. You know what I mean?
Very routine.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
I'm a very rigid routine person.
Yeah. Well, again, it fits who you are, and it works best for your actual style of not only training but also life for you. It just works best that way.
Yeah. Sometimes to a fault.
Yeah.
But
my brain likes to have a million things thrown at me and whatnot. I just kind of figure it out along the way. You know what I mean? It's
right.
Again, that's why we've talked about us meshing together in a lot of ways too, because we think completely differently in a lot of ways too.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we think very much the same in a lot of things too, as we know.
But it works.
Yeah,
is your point?
Works,
you know, and we both rub off on each other in those particular ways. You know, and it works. So anyway, I think that those two crazes have really fueled that interest and whatnot in the hybrid training and all this.
And a lot of people, that's like where they've jumped into fitness in general.
Sure.
Because that also, I'll say this too, hybrid athlete and high rocks have also fueled people's interest in bodybuilding in certain ways too.
Sure.
Because like being a hybrid athlete, naturally you want to be good at bodybuilding, but you also want to be good at running.
Yeah.
So the problem is a lot of times with the hybrid athlete and the high rocks people, then they start, these younger kids or just newer fitness people in general have dove into the muscle building space as well.
Right.
And they don't really have any knowledge on it at all.
Sure.
They have no real understanding on how to get huge, essentially, and how to put on size. And they'll be the ones saying like, oh, I need, 30 to 45 minutes and it gets me, it's doubled my muscle mass in a month. Like, okay, like, first of all, that's false. Like I just looked at your profile and you're a twink.
Right.
Let's make that very clear. And so like, cause that's I'm not roasting on high rocks or on hybrid athlete. Actually, like the more I look into high rocks, the more I become a fan of it, truthfully. And the more I look into hybrid athlete, like also there is real truth to that because like it's just encouraging people to be a normal, very fit human.
Sure.
It's just, you got to be careful if you're going to dive into the realm, get a lot of experience in both before you start talking like an expert on both.
Right.
Like for example, you and I have well over 10 plus years now of training between the two of us. So like naturally what happens is there's experience there built in.
Sure.
And we can be a voice on this, but if you are just getting into fitness in the last 1 to 2 years, you've never really had any actual training or knowledge base or done anything like that around it, then it's tough to be like, okay, like dive into hypertrophy training.
Right.
Or dive into coaching people on hypertrophy. I should make clear too.
Yeah.
And it's good. Again, that's why the jobs you and I did, we were able to get into coaching in manners where we were able to get in front of people and get clients right away. Whether it was you with all the athletes, whether it was me with group training, whether it was me with one-on-one stuff, whatever it was, we were able to get in front of people right away and work with people in real time and see results happen.
Yeah.
So like, and a lot of these coaches, they try to dive right into online coaching right away too. And that's all they do.
Right.
And it's like, you also need in-person experience. There's a really big carryover from in-person experience to online.
Yes.
So anyways,
because the point you're making is just because you work out doesn't mean you can be a coach.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you watch baseball doesn't mean you could coach baseball. It's the same idea, But going back to a quick point on the high rocks and hybrid stuff, I think a really good positive that has come, especially like from the high rock stuff, is that it has showed people that you can look awesome and still be an endurance athlete. Because when you think of endurance athletes and you think of like marathon runners, there's really none of them that look jacked. They look not necessarily malnourished, but they're skinny. They're skinny.
Yep.
And maybe even skinny is too dramatic, but they look skinny. They don't look like they
do.
Right.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
Right.
They look like gazelles, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah. Which like, hey, right now I can't run a marathon, so like I'm not talking shit on marathon runners by any means. However, most of them don't look like what the high rocks athletes do. And obviously two different sports there, two different types
100%.
of events. Obviously with high rocks, you have to have muscle because there is a physical, muscular component to the competition. Running a marathon, you just got to have endurance. You got to have leg strength and things like that. So you
and truthfully, if you look into it, like endurance training, that you actually could really benefit from doing strength training.
100%.
As like that's we had Trent do that with us originally, like a guy who was training for I think he was training for half of the time he worked with us. Is that right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he was training. Yes, it was definitely a half, I believe, because I don't think he was on the marathons yet. Now he's actually knocked out one or two now.
At
Trent
least
has?
one. Him and his wife ran one not too long
Shout
ago.
outs and
Former Untapped podcast guest, by the way.
100%.
Early days
of it, yeah, and a really good guest. Season 2, episode 4.
I have no idea.
Maybe that might be right. I don't know. Anyways, but that was great because he was a great example of like training, strength training wise. We would taper it back on and off depending on how he was feeling.
And it was like 2 days a week.
2-3 days a week max.
Yeah.
At most, it was 3 days a week. And it worked really well because he was running about 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So it mixed really well with that. And it actually just kept his longevity better up towards the race. He was much less injury prone up towards the race, which is what strength training does in this scenario.
Yes.
So to preface all this, of course, with all the endurance talk too, that leads in really well to the hypertrophy debates going on in a lot of ways because, of course, what does nowadays, in the last like 20 to 30 years, what does fitness lead back to? It's who's the biggest. It leads back to the most jacked, big dog guy in the room. That's why, for example, like you and I think about Will Bates all the time.
Sure.
He's massive. He's
another former Untapped
podcast. Season 2, episode 26. I believe.
Just insane.
Yeah.
There's a perfect example of how different our brains are.
Yeah, 100%.
Because without any time passing, you can rattle that off. For me, I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. Like I don't even know. I have no idea.
That's what it feels like having a brain like I do because I like accessed a file and then pulled it out and said it. That's it.
While you're still talking about something completely different.
It makes like that's why random side note, ADHD, by the way, for those of you that are worried about either your kids having ADHD or just in general you're worried about having ADHD, it's a superpower. 100% it's a superpower.
If you use it correctly.
If you use it correctly, it's a superpower.
Use it as a crutch, it's not.
Exactly. Which a lot of people do. But anyways, on to the hypertrophy stuff of things. There's been the big debate and it always goes back to, like I said, with Will. Will's massive. So we think of him all the time. We naturally gravitated toward the guy, wanted to meet him because he's just a stud. It's like, how is this dude so huge? You know, it's like, it's very impressive to see a guy who is a genuinely like ginormous human being.
Yeah.
Like genuinely.
Yeah.
So naturally the fitness conversation goes back to this, oh, I'm huge and you're not.
Yeah.
You know, like genuinely, that's what it goes back to in a lot of ways when it comes to the fitness industry is I'm gigantic, you're not.
Yeah.
You know, and because you think of Bumstead, like people, no matter what fitness realm you're in, everybody knows Bumstead.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Chris Bumstead, just in case you don't know.
True. Chris Bumstead.
Seven straight Mr. Olympia winner.
Yeah. And that was like all, I think he won. Yeah.
Which is insane.
That's insane. Which Hani, his coach, was at the S2 Expo, which is awesome.
Yes.
But again, it goes back to this size thing. And now, so there's this big debate leading from all of that on the hypertrophy side of the fitness, TikTok, Instagram, whatever you want to talk about, that is all about how to put on size in the proper manner. And there's probably 3 different camps I'll set up here for us just to give us somewhere to go off of. There's one camp where it's like high volume training, you know, whether it's you're doing RDLs for 15 reps in a set, you know what I mean? Which classically people think of RDLs as like a 3 to 8 rep set a lot of the times, just because it's a compound movement a lot of times.
Yeah.
But it's like people doing high rep sets of that. Maybe they want to do 4 sets of it and then go on to the next accessory work they have. And then that workout ends up being, you know, a total of 20 plus sets. Right. Okay. They say that gets them big, right? Okay, great. That's the high volume crowd side of things. Now there's this crowd in the last probably 3 to 5 years, especially maybe less than that even. That's the low volume crowd, which I found very intriguing, truthfully, because you and I only have so much time to work out per day. So it's very interesting if we can get in 30, 45 minutes and keep putting on muscle. That's a good thing.
It's a lot of days I'm like that.
Exactly.
It's like I'm trying to be in and out of the door in an hour.
Exactly. So that's, again, there's going to be logic to all these guys. Let's just make that very clear. None of them, we're not going to say one is necessarily wrong.
Correct.
It's just about the way you approach it.
Yes.
So low volume training is basically like 1 to 2 hard sets per movement. Like let's say you do 4 movements, you do 1 to 2 hard sets for each. So again, your 8 sets or under. That's pretty low if you think about it compared to that high volume training, right?
Right.
Then you have the crowd who is like just do compound movements, just do deadlift, squats, whatever you want to think of, overhead press, bench press, all that, heavy dumbbell movements, whatever. Just do compound stuff. Really don't worry about cables and isolation stuff other than just a little bit, and you'll put on a bunch of muscle. There's that side of things too. All three have some claim to truth, because here's the problem is that everybody's body's going to respond differently too.
Bingo.
So there's a lot of creators that, especially in the low volume space I'm seeing right now, which frustrates me a little bit, they are very absolutist about how they talk about their training.
The low volume.
Yes, the low volume guys are.
Yeah.
They're like, there's literally 21, 22-year-old kids that are well under 200 pounds. And that's again, this size conversation about hypertrophy and whatnot. That, again, you and I are two guys over 200 pounds talking about this. And that usually indicates strength and size if you're over 200 pounds. Usually it does, right? These kids are like 160.
If that.
Their training looks somewhat intense on their social medias and whatnot. And they will literally go on with 1 to 2 years of knowledge, hypothetically, in the low volume space, 21, 22 years old, and go and critique guys like Mike Menser or Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman or Bumstead or whoever. And they'll critique these guys that are ginormous bodybuilders that put on a ton of size. And if you ever look into bodybuilding, guys, you'll find that all these bodybuilders, Mike Menser did low volume. He got massive. He's one of the best physiques of all time.
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman did almost entirely power building, like a lot of deadlifts and just heavy dumbbell movements and just trained super hard.
Yeah.
But before he was even on steroids, he was already in the Olympia conversation before he was on steroids at this point in time. So again, genetics are playing a factor here too. And then you got guys like Bumstead who train pretty high volume, and he's 7 straight Olympia champion.
Yeah.
So,
and is also enormous.
Exactly. And so like the whole idea of you going as a 160 pound, 21-year-old or something like that, and going in and critiquing these guys that are literally at the top of what you consider the size game, the top of the size game. All these guys are 240, 250 plus. They all have a 10-pack essentially on them. You can see every vein on their body. Their legs are rippled and massive. I mean, it's just, they're insane. Their physiques are insane, genuinely. And you go on there and say, well, if he would have left 1 rep in reserve, which for those of you that don't know, 1 rep in reserve means you finish a set, you could have done 1 more rep. Yeah. And that would have been failure for you.
Yeah.
It's
like you're pushing it.
Yeah, you're pushing it. It's a hard set. Yeah. But he's like, if he wouldn't have trained entirely to failure and then done partials and whatnot, he probably could have gotten even bigger. How do you know about that? Bro, he's literally double, if not triple your size.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
Because some of those dudes are like 300 pounds and ripped.
They are.
Like that.
They're massive.
Yeah.
Dude. There are guys, like if you look at a guy like Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, Thor Bjornsson, whatnot. Again, these guys are strongmen. It's a whole different conversation. Sure. But again, they're 6'8", and Brian Shaw, the last time I saw a scan from him, it was on a DEXA scan, which is just a body composition scan. It shows you muscle mass, body fat composition, that type of stuff.
Yeah, same idea as an in-body. Much different process.
Much more specific process and accurate.
More accurate, yes. But same idea.
100%. Yeah. And the DEXA scan showed Brian Shaw at 300 pounds of skeletal muscle mass, and he was 440 pounds total.
Bro, that is
for context, my in-body shows 125 pounds of skeletal muscle mass right now.
Yeah.
So this good dude could snap me in half, and I'm 6'4", 260 pounds.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Horrifying. But so again, to talk size here, again, the truth of the matter is there is real credential to being large. If you are a coach and you are a big dude like Will, and your coach is my bodybuilding training, or you're a IFBB pro bodybuilding coaching people, that is much more reputable than some 21-year-old kid that's 160 pounds telling you that your cable tricep extensions weren't done right. This is why you weren't that big. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Which again, like I said, a guy like Mike Menser was low volume training and got massive.
Yeah.
His body responded really well to that. Again, there's the high volume guys you talk about, like Schwarzenegger did really high volume. Tom Platt's another one. He would do 10 sets of squats
Yeah.
for like 15 reps or something like that.
Dude, he was nuts.
He was insane. And he had some of the best legs, if not the best legs of all time
Yeah.
in the physique competition, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem is like you go and you look at the credentials. Like if you are going to talk in the bodybuilding and hypertrophy space or the size space, you have to have the credentials. You have to have the size along with it. Now, again, I'm kind of looking outside of it because personally, bodybuilding training, I enjoy it. Could I coach somebody on it just starting out? Yes, but I would refer them to a much more specific bodybuilding coach more than likely.
Sure.
Probably like Will, truthfully, to pass on.
Who has competed.
Exactly. To somebody that had competed because I'm like, I just wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
That just wouldn't be somebody I would want to train.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, I mean, for example, I'll use myself, a couple years back, after my third 75 hard run, like I was looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
I was very cut, had the abs, all the veins, all that stuff, and I was like around, I want to say my lowest, according to the InBody, was like 9.1% body fat. So like really good. But if I were to step on stage, that would need to be even lower. But my point where I'm going with this, as far as the bodybuilding, I was trying to do some of the poses and whatnot because I was, in a gym that was very much bodybuilding gym. I was very interested in that culture, even had some thoughts of maybe, hey, it would be kind of cool to like compete and maybe do this because I know that I can now. I see this. I see the progress I can make for that. Well, I was trying to do some of the poses, just kind of having fun. And one of the trainers that worked in this gym who has been around in the bodybuilding game a long time, he competed himself. He coaches people on it. He was giving me some tips on the posing just for fun. And it's like all these little intricate things that it's not just flex your bicep. It's flex your bicep, but flex this quad, put this heel down, turn this way, whatever. Put your chin here, like just to show your bicep. You know what I mean? So it's like all these crazy intricate things that I didn't know. I looked good, so I thought I knew. But there are so many things that I didn't know as far as the posing, especially because obviously that's a huge, huge part of bodybuilding shows is knowing how to properly pose and do a routine and all that. And quite honestly, that likely is the make or break for a winner, in a show is the posing. It's not the look, it's the posing. How well can you show it off? And so that's a perfect example where I was actively training clients. I was actively, had a physique that would look like a bodybuilding show ready physique, but there were so many things I had no idea of, so just because I looked good and was training clients doesn't mean I was just an expert ready to step on stage and would know exactly what to do.
Yep.
So not only do you have to have the credentials, but something we haven't said yet, if you're this 21-year-old kid, first of all, you lack the credentials, like you just said. But number two, because you're young, physically you're young, and you're young in the game, because if you're 21, it's not like you've been training for 10 years. Maybe 1 or 2 at most. Most.
If you started right at 18, probably 3 years, but
exactly.
That's extremely rare.
Exactly.
Extremely rare.
So you don't have the credentials, and you don't understand that you have to caveat these types of points, conversations, whatever, with something you mentioned earlier. Everyone's body will respond differently. All 3 of those camps that you set up for us, nice, campfire. We had seats around the campfire, good tent. I mean, you set up the camps perfectly.
I know how to do that.
Yeah.
100%.
All 3 of those are not incorrect. None of them are incorrect. They might be incorrect for you, but for me, they might not be. The low volume might be perfect for me, but the high volume is perfect for you. And then what was the third one? I'm like forgetting.
Oh, like compound movement, power building type style.
Power building might be perfect for Mitch.
Right.
All 3 of us might get to the same stage though.
By the way, to keep that context too, what did you respond best to when you had your physique best? Because for context, all 3 of us in here are natural for one.
Yeah.
And clomiphene is what I'm on, but that really doesn't add much muscle gain,
right.
Truthfully.
I use protein powder and creatine.
Yeah, exactly. Creatine and protein powder are your 2 performance enhancers.
Yes.
Let's talk about your physique in general here.
Sure.
So talking about your physique here, what did you respond best to when you were at the best at your natural state here?
Yeah.
You were 24 at the time? 25?
It wasn't, no. It was, 23, 24.
Gotcha.
Somewhere in there.
Okay. So what training did you respond best to?
It was more high volume. Yeah.
Boom.
It was, 3 to 4 sets, as low as maybe 6 reps, but plenty as high as 15, and so very high volume, longer workouts. There were workouts that would be hour and 10 easy.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes if you got really onto it, probably an hour and a half too.
Sure. Especially, when you get a good bicep pump going, like you want to keep going,
100%.
right? But absolutely the high volume.
And again, another guy we would know, Will Bates. Again, not to go back to him, but it's just like we know this guy.
Mm-hmm.
High volume.
Yeah.
100% Will
Absolutely.
trains at a very high volume rate, very high intensity rate too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You ever watch his videos on Instagram? The
Sure.
dude trains like a maniac.
Yeah.
So it's not just that he's just gifted genetically by any
Right.
means too. There is genetics involved, 100%.
Right.
I'm not going to say that's not true, but.
And then
Yeah.
another one of our friends, another former Untapped guest,
Mhm.
E, who he's kind of a combination of the low volume and the compound lifts only.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's kind of into the powerlifting space a good amount, but
For
he still does accessory lifts, but it's mostly dumbbell or barbell
Correct.
accessory stuff. Yeah.
Right. So we're talking, 1 to 3 reps of heavy deadlifts. I mean, heavy deadlifts,
Strong dude.
heavy squats,
Yep.
heavy bench. I
Mhm.
mean, we're talking big numbers
Mhm.
on those 3.
And remember, E when he was 2 or 3 years into training was already hitting 600, 700 pounds on a deadlift.
Exactly.
So like, again, there isn't also, again, I've talked about this on the episode with him. He was 149 because of this. Like we talked about on the episode, like obviously not to take away from his hard work. There is a genetic aspect too.
Sure.
Because that's the thing people talk about with powerlifting. There's a genetic aspect of how long your arms are. You might be a deadlift specialist, but you might be horrible at bench.
Yeah.
I mean, just useless at bench, basically. I mean, honestly,
Right.
that's a true factor, and like, I wouldn't say I have the best build for bench. My arms are long.
Yeah.
My arms are very
Both
long.
of us, for that matter.
Yeah, it's just not really a good way to go about doing bench. And have I gotten strong on bench? Yeah, I have, but it's also been like very, very slow progress on it for a long time.
Same thing for pull-ups. You and I both have to
gosh.
go a long way on pull-ups.
Pull-ups are brutal, dude.
Yeah. And like I'm pretty good at pull-ups now, especially because I'm a little bit lighter.
Mhm.
I've lost like close to 20 pounds.
You're
in
at
the
what,
last-
207, 205 right now? you said?
Maybe not quite that low.
Yeah.
Honestly, last time I weighed, I was 209, which is almost 20 pounds down from
Awesome.
like the beginning of Lent. But
Shout out cutting out alcohol.
the facts,
Honestly, though.
facts.
Yeah.
That is basically the only thing I changed. I gave up alcohol for Lent, and I've just kept going.
That's the thing, dude. There's just a lot of people that when it comes to that too, like that's when it comes to putting on size or whatnot, like you could do really good by cutting down your alcohol intake big time.
Well,
like,
and just like not only physically but mentally, like so much clearer
yeah.
for sure.
And not that's not the point of the episode, but
Absolutely.
But
Uh,
just random side note.
but like that's a part of the reason why right now like pull-ups, I'm not gonna say they're easy by any means, but I don't like dread them because like I know I can do them. But damn well the first time you and I ever did the Murph, which goodness, what was that? 4 years ago, 2021 probably.
Sorry, Mitchell was really gifting me during the podcast. That
Okay.
was awesome. Yeah.
What was that? 2021. You and I did the first time we did the Murph together.
Or was it 23?
I think it's been longer than 2 years. I don't know. I have the patch in my room, but
It might be actually 22. Excuse me. doesn't
Anyway.
matter. Yeah.
anyway, multiple years ago
Uh-huh.
was the first time we did the Murph, and like I was very worried about being able to complete it because I was like,
Mhm.
dude, I can't do pull-ups.
Yep.
I literally could do zero. And then we completed the Murph.
Well, remember again,
Did
I-
100 of them.
and remember what I told you too. I told you, like, trust me, the way we break it up, you're gonna be able to do them.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and like I also worked on them leading up to it.
You did.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like not that we were like super training for the Murph necessarily.
We did probably a couple months of like pretty light training for it.
Yeah,
Or like
yeah.
pretty like somewhat dedicated toward it. It wasn't
Yes.
like fully dedicated toward it, but yeah.
Absolutely. And then we completed it. You know what I mean? And
And so that leads to the whole conversation about like, again, we talked about who to take advice from. We talked about we set up the hypertrophy conversations where it led from with the hybrid athlete, high rocks, all the way into hypertrophy conversations. Now we talked about, who to take advice from. Let's talk about, are these methods viable? Are these
Right.
3 methods we talked about viable? Again, I hate to say it, but the truth of the matter is, like, I even had there was actually, let's see, this was January, February this year was when I moved over to Hive for a couple of my clients. I had a couple clients there at Hive in person, Iron Hive in Baldwin, for those of you that don't know. And I at the time I offered to train Dr. Wyatt Mormon, one of our other guests, episode 108. Also your chiropractor right now. And
Stud.
yes, he's a stud, 100%.
Terrible at golf though. Miss all the putts.
Oh god, I did see that. That was bad.
The story.
That was rough. Sorry, I feel you wide on that one. But I actually offered. I was like, hey, like I know you've been talking about like really getting back into training. You haven't really had a lot of time or like really a lot of motivation with it. Do you want me to help train you? And I trained him for like I trained him for like 3 sessions or something like that. Like it was really just to get him back into it. It wasn't like I wasn't like, hey, let's put you on a plan.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he basically told me, he's like, look, I respond really well to high volume. I always have. That's just always how I've trained really well. I stay strong that way. I also get really large. I'm like, cool. Okay, I know that now.
Yeah.
And instantly you can see Wyatt's one of those guys within 2 months. If he does high volume training, you can see him actually put it on size with that high volume training. Now, again, have I also maintained a lot of my size right now with just low volume, but also like just heavy training in general? I mean, like incline bench, heavy T-bar row for upper body stuff, heavy row stuff in general. Lower body stuff is heavy Zerchers and like, landmine single leg deadlifts, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Have I maintained a lot of my size doing that low volume wise? 100%. And we also know guys who have been doing low volume and respond really well to it, 45 minutes to an hour or less in a workout, and they love it and they put on size doing that.
Right.
So the thing is, like what you lead back to, like all these are going to be able to put on size. What needs to happen is if you're going to get into training, it's obviously recommended you get a coach of some sort that has an idea of this stuff, 100%. And it's going to take some testing.
Yeah.
It's going to take, I really like 4 to 5 days a week of high volume.
Sure. Okay,
let's keep doing that. And I'm gaining a ton of muscle. Month over month, it's going up. But let's say you start with low volume and you get no results. Okay, we got to audible a little bit.
Right.
Here we go. Let's try high volume. Oh, that didn't work either. You didn't respond well to that at all. Oh, here's power building with heavy compound movements, and you loved it. You responded really well to it. You got strong, and you put on size. Because again, strength and hypertrophy are 100% correlated. Like there is absolutely realistic ways you could look at strength and hypertrophy and be like, somebody's strong, they also should be big, hypothetically.
By the way, we probably should have said this at the beginning. If you don't know, hypertrophy just means putting on muscle.
Yeah, it just means muscle.
It's a fancy way of saying putting on muscle.
Yeah, because I've said like muscle building and then like hypertrophy, but muscle building,
same thing.
Same thing. Same idea. Yeah. The size of your muscles grows is essentially what hypertrophy is. Yeah. But like strength and size are often correlated. They are. Like that's a very normal thing to see. So like maybe you find power building works really well for you, put on a ton of size. I've known guys that respond really well to that as well. So all of this to say that it's going to take some experimentation. Like let's make that really clear.
And we're talking prolonged experiment. It's not a week.
2, 3, 4 years. Yeah.
Years. I mean, you could do it in 3-month blocks.
You could do it in 3-month blocks and and you could see. Now, realistically, if you're going to see if a type of training really works well for you, you probably should do like a year of that at least.
I agree.
To like really see actual prolonged results over a year.
Yeah.
You should see that.
Yeah.
Truthfully, if you are consistently over month gaining, that's a really good sign.
Yes.
That's a really good sign. Obviously, your diet plays a big part in this. Like you're going to have your diet dialed in. There's just no doubt about it. You have to be eating at minimum in somewhat of a surplus, like more than likely. Like even if it's like 100, 200 calorie surplus, you're eating over your maintenance calories. Again, there's a lot of look up maintenance calorie calculators online. You can find your maintenance.
Super
very,
easy,
very easy. At least like a ballpark of it.
Yeah. And by the way, just because you're in a surplus does not mean that you will gain body fat. Correct. You may. There is a chance of that.
Well, and that's where you take into account protein intake.
Exactly.
Something like creatine would be 100% very helpful with that.
Cardio.
The quality of your food. Cardio, absolutely.
Yeah.
All these things would be factored in.
Because going back to that, the post 75 hard, what we were just talking about earlier with me, I was eating way more than I ever had especially on the first 2 75 hard runs that I had. I was eating way more, and muscle mass was going up.
It was going
body
up.
fat was going down. Physique was going in the right directions. I mean,
we're
talking awesome.
Calorie intake is really the way to do it. Like if you're going to add size, like calorie intake's the way to do it. Especially if you're going to stay natural. Like if you're not going to go on something like testosterone replacement therapy or something like that, even testosterone replacement therapy, you won't be able to like just magically put on size doing that. Really, the only way to magically. Again, it's not magically. I hate saying magically because it's not. Like people think you take 500 milligrams of testosterone, then you just blow up like a balloon. That's not how it works. Like you have to work very hard with it. It'll just speed up the process is all it is. That's what I should clarify there. But if you're a natural lifter, 100%, no doubt, like you're going to have to be times where like more than likely a bulk could be really useful for you. Like eating in a surplus will 100% be useful because you will be able to have a higher protein intake. You'll be able to have you'll be more satiated in general, which also means you have just more energy stores to utilize also in general because of that, because your carbohydrate intake should be up there as well.
Yep.
So that's the thing. All this is to say, literally experiment what works best for you.
Yeah.
If you have 30 to 45 minutes, I truly think you can put on muscle with 30, 45 minutes, 100% low volume training. There's just no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And it depends. Like, how intense are your sets? Are you doing low volume training? Like there was a video I saw. I don't know if I sent you this or not, but it was literally this kid he's one of the twink guys right now talking about this stuff and thinks he knows everything about it. And I'm not kidding. This dude finishes a set in the Alpha Elite gym of single arm tricep cable extensions. And he's doing, he finished the set. He's like, stops. And he goes, all right, that set was about 1 to 2 RIR, like reps in reserve again. And he starts talking right away. And it's like, bro, it wasn't a hard set.
No.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, if you're able to just drop it right away and start talking, it wasn't a hard set.
Correct.
Like, I'm sorry. And again, quit being so analytical. It's single arm tricep extension.
Come on. Good.
All right. That was probably 0 to 1 RAR.
We're doing a single arm tricep extension, dog. 425 is like, whoa. We got to rack that. Another rep could be sketchy. It's a single arm cable tricep extension.
For those of you that are very much so like paralysis analysis with this type of stuff, stop.
Yeah.
Stop that. Like, you don't need to do all that stuff unless you want to nerd out about it and that's what your career is. Exercise physiology is your career. Great. Nerd out on it all day long. 100%. If you're trying to put on size, you don't need to stop a set at 1 to 2 RIR, which wasn't actually 1 to 2 RIR, and just start talking about it in like this really nerdy tone to the camera and whatnot because you think you're an expert. This guy's arms were like, and again, like, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. This guy's arms are like half the size of mine. And I'm like,
8-inch biceps.
I mean, yeah, like real talk. Real talk. I mean, it was bad. And again, like this guy is more than likely somebody who doesn't actually train hard with his low volume training and isn't getting results from it.
Well, I mean, that clip is a perfect example of that. If you are truly 1 to 2 reps in reserve, you are out of breath. You are not talking right away. Like, you should be struggling through the rep, legitimately struggling through the rep, not just screaming for the camera. But like, you got to sit down, you got to breathe for at least a minute, and then we're maybe talking.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, come on now.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was frustrating because, again, like, it gives people this very wrong impression of what it looks like to train like that.
It does.
It really, again, up until 1950s, 60s and whatnot. Before that, everybody like had to be healthy because life just forced you to be that way because it was so hard, obviously. Now you have to purposely train really hard to set yourself apart. That's the truth. Like, if you're going to set yourself apart, you have to train really hard. If you want to get big, you're going to have to train really hard.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. Even if it's low volume, if it's high volume, if it's power building, whatever it is, just go hard.
Right.
I mean, and again, like, proper programming is key. Like, you shouldn't just be you shouldn't be 7 days a week and then every day is 100% and whatnot, and everything's to failure and whatnot. I would imagine that it's going to be challenging to actually recover if you do that. Like, 100%. Probably genetic freaks that can recover from something like that out there somewhere, or whatnot, but it's unlikely.
Right.
So the point is like, low volume, you can put on muscle, but you got to go hard.
Right.
Like, probably even harder than the high volume guys are.
Absolutely.
I would argue.
Well, because if you're going to do high volume, you naturally have to go down and weight. Like, if you're truly going to get to that 10 to 12 to 15 reps, like, you can't go your max weight. Like,
or you're going to be a Tom Platz and do 10 sets of 20 in squats.
Yeah, right.
With 225 on the bar.
Which is just insane to think about.
Session.
And
you're just spraying the gym floor with
oh yeah, big time. I mean, we need the janitor over here now.
Yeah, big time. Like, you bring the mop and everything. Yeah.
Bring the fire hose. But I think to kind of conclude here.
Yep.
All of this being said, because this can get very confusing for people to follow who don't see these videos, don't see these articles, aren't in the sauce like you and I are, where this stuff interests us. So we're going to read it. We're going to watch it, right? Most people aren't.
Mhm.
So everything we just covered over the last, 40 minutes can sound very confusing. And it's like, well, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Not our point by any means. And maybe not the point of these things that we're referring to. However, when you have a 21-year-old, going crazy on tricep extensions, out of breath, and then immediately talking super sciencey, you might feel a little bad because
I'll put it in the video for sure too, and I'll send it
that's
to you
fine.
because
My point is, and what our point is, the overall point here is you're going to have to try those 3 things, those 3 different modes. Okay.
It's actually fun to try all 3 too.
It is. It's very fun because then you're kind of switching it up. So you're testing yourself. You're seeing what you actually enjoy aside from the what puts on muscle for me. But like, what do I enjoy? You're going to have to try these things. You're going to have to experience it. You're going to have to, go through the trials of the high volume, the low volume, the compounds and things like that. By the way, us 2 have done all 3 of those.
Yes, we have.
And we have figured out what works best for us. But even still, like sometimes I'll go to a more low volume or I'll be like, you know what? I'm kind of in the mood to deadlift now. I haven't deadlifted in forever. So like, why not? This could be kind of fun for 4 weeks or something.
Training's also supposed to be fun.
It is.
That aspect of it. That's why that guy scientifically breaking down extensions like that is just like
it's not fun.
It drains the fun out of it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does because then you think you have to have like the perfect angle on a tricep extension. It's like, hey, guess what, pal? Half reps on tricep extensions can do wonders. You don't have to go from here to here the entire time.
Sometimes pushing yourself with heavy weight is a good thing.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, by sometimes, I mean it often, all the time is.
Yeah, and I'm not saying half reps like you put 15 on the cable and then you're like, that's not what I'm talking about. Like I'm talking like you're gassed and you're struggling to get some half reps, but you push out three extra reps. You know what I mean? So you have to try all these out. What's going to get you to the gym? What do you enjoy? What's fun for you? What do you get excited about? Is it, and then the third choice here, or the third piece is how many days a week can you dedicate to this?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's 2 to 3, 3 to 4, maybe it is 6. We don't recommend 7 by any means. Even 6 could be pushing it for people. And it also can be very difficult to make 6 days a week at the gym.
Yeah.
It can be difficult. It's definitely not impossible. That's what I was doing when I got to that physique we were talking about for a while there. Like I was in the gym for 6 days a week. It worked really well. I had the time. I had the means to do that, But try out these 3 camps. What's going to get you to the gym, and how much time and how many days a week can you dedicate to those? It really is as simple as that.
Time, frequency, intensity is essentially what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then go on the internet, type in macro calculator or calorie calculator. You'll type in your height, your weight, probably your goals, things like that, and it'll spit it out for free. Like it's super easy.
Yep. Might not be on the dot exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's gonna be close.
It'll give you.
You could also
idea.
do an in-body at a local supplement superstores.
Give me my next one. Yep. And while you're there, get an untapped smoothie.
I think that'd be a good add-in. Yeah.
I'm also a huge proponent of tracking your food. You're not necessarily. Mm-hmm. It works for both of us.
I mean, truthfully, if you're going to get as lean as you did, it's 100% the only way.
It is.
That's the truth.
For sure.
I haven't been that lean in a long time, and when I was actually keeping a hold of like the tracking of my food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like if you're going to get like 8 to 10% body fat, no doubt.
Oh yeah.
No doubt you're going to want to track your calories.
Absolutely.
Like, that's my personal thought process on that for sure.
And
now again, if I want to stay at like the 12 to 15 or whatever, like I am now, it's like I have an idea of what calories I need to stay in that range. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy is I'm getting very close to 2,000 straight days of tracking my food.
I knew you'd been on it a while.
That's
now.
like 2,000.
Yep.
Like, bro, we just got to Merry Monday number 200.
Yep.
Like 2,000 straight days. Like it's kind of wild. Yeah.
Milestones.
Oh yeah, big time.
Big dog shit.
Something like that. Anyway. So anyway, guys. It is simple. I know we talked about a lot in the last 45 minutes or so, and it can sound confusing, but it really isn't. You just have to figure out what works for yourself. It's as easy as that. All right. Well, that is episode 161. Now, we're going to start over. At the end.
Might be a DM. Just DM us and go from there.
At the end of all of our non-guest episodes, Money Mitch will ask us a Q&A question that's submitted by you guys, the listeners or the viewers. We have a few different ways then we would like you to submit those to us. Number one, you can DM them to us on Instagram at untapped.llp. You can also DM them to us individually, or you can text them to us if you have our numbers. You can email them to us. Our email is extricationfitness@gmail.com. It's a little bit of a mouthful. There's an email button in our Instagram and Facebook bio. Makes it super easy. You just click on it. It'll take you right to your email. You can send it there. And finally, you can leave your questions in the comments of our social media posts. So we are everywhere. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. All these podcasts are on YouTube as well, if you did not know, along with our vlogs and our YouTube exclusive videos as well. So definitely go check out our YouTube if you have not already. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Free. Do it. I dare you. All of these questions then get sent to Money Mitch. He will pick one out. He picks. I never know which way to go there.
He will pick one out.
He will pick one out. He picks one out. Yeah, I always.
I mean, both of them
myself.
work. Yeah, for sure.
I passed English.
Remember, English is a very adaptable language.
It is.
Yeah.
He picks. We'll go that way this week. He picks one out that pertains to the topic of the episode. It might be in reference to a past episode. It could be a random question. It could be a funny question. It doesn't really matter, guys. Just submit these. Okay. He will pick one out, and then at the end of the episode here, it's his time to shine. Money Mitch, everybody.
I was told by the listeners that they want to know what are your guys' favorite exercise to do and why.
Just like single exercise.
A singular exercise. You cannot pick any others. In all of your years of training, I was told by the listeners to lock you guys down to a singular exercise. And what is your favorite and why? And that why needs to be very in depth.
I'm gonna like break it down to 3.
Nope. One.
No. I was gonna finish.
All right.
Interrupting boy.
Can I go first?
Yeah, you can. Let me preface. I'm gonna break it down into 3, and then I'll choose one of those and break it down from there logically. But anyways, go ahead.
See, now it was gonna be funny. I was gonna say I love foam rolling. Like, it was gonna be really funny because it was gonna be naturally, like, just right off the question. But now it's not funny anymore. So, like,
I love self-myofascial release. That's what it is, Mitch. What are you shaking your head for?
Yeah.
That's literally what it's called. That's the actual scientific terminology.
The foam roller is just the tool.
That's flushed down the shitter.
It was gonna be so like I was so excited to say that.
It's still funny to me, but anyways, you know, I got you, bro.
Yeah. Come on now.
But dude, it's so, foam rolling so funny. A little side note on that, real quick. It's one of those that is like probably entirely placebo. Like not really.
Shut up. No, it's
not
real.
really like any. I love doing it before work.
I do it every day.
I really do.
So shut up.
It's just
nope.
It likely is all placebo.
You're wrong.
Like research doesn't really back it up at all.
Shut up. You don't even work out.
Okay, so foam rolling. Cool.
Man, like it's such a hard question
because
not only are there so many that would be fun to pick, like favorite movement, but there's also just so many different movements that like I've done, like hundreds.
Yep.
You're talking between machines, dumbbells, barbells, landmines, bands, freaking jump rope. Like it's hard to pick.
And we're beholden to the listeners here because the question fits quite nicely into this because whatever movement you guys pick, maybe another way you guys could talk about it is how it fits into these 3 methods.
No, of course. Back in the day, I would say one of my favorites was close stance squats.
Okay, almost close to athletic stance squats, or even closer than that.
No, I'm talking
like you're talking about cannonball squats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the actual name. Yes, cannonball squats. I used to just hammer those, and I loved them. And because for me, like the quad growth, the quad pump was ridiculous. I mean, honestly,
squats is up there. Like, realistically, if you do a heavy-weighted barbell squat of some sort,
for sure,
it's probably going to do you well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the great thing about squats is there's a million different ways to do them. But back in the day, that may have been my choice, cannonball squats. Because
that used to be. So that gives good context.
I think today, which this is very similar, I almost feel like it's like don't say the wrong one, Because again, there's so many. Like,
it's definitely not a wrong answer.
Like bicep curls are awesome. Like I love looking at the veins.
Yeah, then you're just going to be, the rest of your body's going to be twinkish.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm going to lock in my answer here with hack squat.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Now,
Meatball.
Like the hack squats
At S2?
At S2, like that type. Yes.
Okay, good.
Which, how do we even like describe that? It's like a normal one.
Oh, it's
on rails.
It's
they
like
get the pads on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's literally all it is for those of you on YouTube. Instead of a barbell squat, you're going straight down. It's a vertical movement.
Yeah.
All you're doing is just tilting it to a 45-degree angle
Yeah.
and then squatting on a platform
Yeah.
that is produced with the machine is all it is. And
Yeah.
it's usually plate loaded if you have a good one, truthfully.
Have you ever seen one that's not?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, there's definitely machines that are like
Well, that's fair.
There's
Stack loaded.
100%.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
the Kaiser machines, like the air pump machines.
Definitely.
I'm sure there's variations of it
Definitely,
like
yeah.
that. But 100%, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'm going to go hack squat, Money Mitch. That's going to be my choice. And yes, the reason why here, don't yell at me like that. Don't do that. Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah, that's right. This guy. The reasoning
Thank
here.
God that one on a camera.
Yeah, right. The reasoning is actually very similar to what I just said about the cannonball squats, but I have a very I'm not gonna say unique. That was the first word that almost just came out there. I don't think that would be correct here, but I have a very strong ability to connect with my quads and actually my glutes on the hack squat.
Cheek connector.
Huh?
Cheek
Cheek
connector.
connector. Idiot.
The cheek whisperer.
Oh my gosh. Focus here.
Mitchell.
Very, very strong ability to connect to those on the hack squat. And depending on which hack squat it is, because they're all like a little bit different as far as their weight, like by itself. Like the one at S2 felt insanely heavy to me. Like,
Yeah.
I think, what did we get up to?
We
Maybe
had
three
three.
plates?
We had 3 plates on each side. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was a properly loaded hack squat.
It was.
There's just Arsenal nails.
Arsenal's awesome.
Arsenal's so dialed. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
But what's
anyways.
crazy is I've been on the same type of hack squat, and I kid you not, like I've loaded that up to like 6 to 8 plates on each side.
Are you talking about the one at Anytime?
No. That one's crazy.
That one's
heavy.
like, I don't even know what to call it.
It's weird.
That like it's such an odd variation of a hack squat.
Yeah,
It's more like
which the tag on it does say hack squat.
it's technically a hack squat still, like because it's the same angle.
Right.
But for example, guys, this hack squat we're talking about, like it has a pad on your back.
It's like a seat.
And it's a seat. It's
Yeah.
literally a seat. You hold onto some handles and then
Mhm.
do the hack squat that way.
Yeah.
So you have less leverage to push on the hack squat because you
Yeah.
don't have your shoulders attached to it.
Right.
You don't have a big pad on your back like
Right.
you do in the Arsenal machine we're talking about.
It's and it's not really made for tall people. Like my toes are off of the platform.
Not even close.
Which
Yeah.
is not actually a very good
Uh.
thing to be doing, because then you're pushing just through like the
balls of your feet and heels.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
essentially.
So anyway. Very strong ability to connect to the quads, the glutes, things like that. But there's also, I just have this in my mind where I can really, really push myself on the hack squat. Like I feel very comfortable on it, number one. Number two, I can usually load it pretty heavy. And sometimes they're heavier just by themselves, which, by the way, guys, if you didn't know this on machines, there should be a tag on the machine. You know, it's usually like screwed into it. Like it's not like a price tag. Like it's a real tag with, number one, what the machine is called. Number two, how to use it if you don't know how to use it. Number three, and this is the most important one for what I'm saying here, it should have the weight of the machine when it's unloaded, especially if it's a plate loaded machine. It'll have how much, the hack squat is, or the shoulder press is, or whatever when it's unloaded. So that's key when you're keeping track of your weights. Hack squat. That's my final answer.
Deal. Okay. So the 3.
Don't try to copy me.
I'll break it down with hack squat. No, I'm just kidding. Zercher squat is 1.
I knew it.
Sprints are another. And probably incline barbell bench press.
Yeah.
But
I think I could have guessed those 3 for you.
those 3 are my favorite.
Yeah.
But
Well, and those are also the 3 movements that indicate you like guys.
that was such a good delivery. I could give that one to you.
I wish we could have gotten Mitch's reaction there.
I am not gay. I have a child on the way.
Oh,
Okay.
there it is.
For those of you that didn't see it, of course. Yeah.
Hey, we got plenty of people
So
that
I'm
might not know.
provenly not gay
True.
because I have a child on the way.
Yeah.
Baby Gabel. Mitchell, your camera's not on.
Is that the only way to prove that you're not gay?
To have a child?
Yeah.
I mean, there's gay couples that have kids.
Oh.
I don't really know how.
We don't.
You know, that different type of episode.
That'll get me pissed off.
Yeah,
real
I
quick.
know.
Yeah. That's a dangerous one.
All right, so which one are you picking out of those three?
Out of those three, I'm probably going. Gosh, dude, I was stuck on Zerchers for a second there, but I'm not. No, I'm not. I don't know. Not barbell bench press. I incline. I can't go with it because I don't want to have skinny legs. That's gay. 100% having skinny legs, having little twink legs. That's 100% homosexual. What? But I would say I'm going with sprints. 100%.
Wow.
If you ever look at like sprinters, they're all jacked, dude. They're all yacked at the Olympics. It's awesome. So,
and probably on stuff.
Maybe. We'll see with the enhanced games.
You're right.
If it actually is true, if they are on something,
Yeah.
which they probably are. At least EPO, which is just very much so a blood flow enhancer, erythropoietin, excuse me. I would go sprints. Yeah, because you're going to get the cardiovascular aspect of it, which is big if you want to have a healthy heart. You're also going to get an anabolic effect from sprints.
Yeah.
You're not going to be the most jacked guy in the block if you just did sprints, for example. Like there's just no way around it. You're going to be a fit human though.
Yeah.
If you can sprint, that's a really good quality. Because then the rest of the time, like for example, if your daily life is hard, like if you were a construction worker and you just did sprints as your only workout, you would probably be very strong. Like more than likely, you'd be a very healthy, strong human.
Yeah.
Like almost undoubtedly. Again, there's going to be missing factors as there is with anything else. But I really like the overall arching fact about the sprints are going to help with your actual cardiovascular health. And they're going to have a certain, in quotations, muscle building effect. Do not take this as Gabel said sprints make you a bodybuilder. That's not true.
Right.
But anyways.
Also, there is a small testosterone release with sprints as well.
Absolutely.
Similar to like max deadlifts.
Yep.
Things like that. Like
I don't think there's been any studies done on long-term effects from sprints. Don't quote me on that. I need to look into PubMed.
Of like testosterone levels?
Yeah. If somebody did a sprint program for like 6 months, for example, if their testosterone increased over that time, like by a significant amount.
Right.
I don't know that.
But I'm talking like there's an immediate release of
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Yes. Like if you did a blood test before sprints, likely you'd see a rise in your testosterone after sprints of doing like, your 15 minutes or whatever you're doing of your session with that. Yeah. I don't know. I really like sprints because of that. I was going to go with Zerchers. The problem is I was missing the cardiovascular aspect of that. That was what was getting me.
You could add a cardiovascular portion to that.
Yeah, if you wanted to do the Tom Platz version of Zerchers, and do 20 reps or whatever.
10 by 20.
Yeah,
which is
sure.
insane.
Yeah. That's the thing. Is just you're not going to get the fast twitch fibers that come along with doing sprinting with that.
Right.
Like you're going to get just the heavy meat weight with Zerchers. 100%. Like if that list went one way, I'd pick sprints and then Zerchers and then incline barbell would be my next two favorite. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, yeah.
All right, well, guys, there you have it. Our favorite movements. And those are the only two you ever need to do to look like Tom Platz.
Hack squats, sprints. Oh, man, you'd be huge.
You'd
actually be jacked.
You'd be an upside down Dorito.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Like you'd be probably toned on the upper body if you did hack squats and sprints. Yeah. But I mean, your lower body would look like an absolute tank.
It would. It would. And technically, you could use the hack squat for upper body. You could like stand under it and do like shoulder presses.
Technically, I don't think that counts.
You could curl it.
Wouldn't that be out of the realm here?
I just said hack squat. I didn't say hack squat squats.
Well, technically, you would have to say hack squat machine.
Yes. But you could stand to the side, do one arm curls, hold a pad.
Do rows.
You could do tricep extensions. Yeah, rows. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just saying, it's the number one machine ever created. All right, guys.
That'd be a different conversation, but
we set up those 3 camps for muscle building and all this, but the true number one answer for muscle building, and this is the only way to actually gain muscle, truthfully, this is proven by the book, by PubMed, I mean, all of it, this is proven. Science, whatever else, like 100%
God.
Fact. God, yes.
The Lord does love you taking care of your temple. That's true.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to actually gain...
You say it does?
Huh?
You say it does?
He does.
Oh, he does. Okay.
Well, I'm going to say he does.
Oh, you said it. I was like...
Oh, yikes.
He
does.
Oh, you're the God is a tranny camp here.
No, definitely not. The number one way to actually build muscle is to consistently get the untapped smoothie from S2.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that transition.
Yeah. It's nice. Pretty simple. Like, just drink the drink and you get jacked. It's It's easy.
Real talk, guys, progressive overload, you're probably going to see size increases no matter what. If
Yes.
you're week by week, by month,
Yeah.
adding on weight to your lifts,
Right.
you're likely.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks in between, all untapped smoothie, progressive
yep.
overload.
Well, again, because you breakfast, lunch, dinner, in between that, your only snack should be an untapped smoothie and then an untapped smoothie in between lunch and dinner.
Correct.
Yep. Breakfast, lunch, break between it, untapped smoothie, lunch and dinner, untapped smoothie between that.
It's easy.
Boom.
Yeah.
Easy.
All right, guys. That's episode 161. Until next time, peace and love.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.